Jake Kemper, agronomy lead with Liqui-Grow.
Hi, I'm Katie Hess, sales and marketing here at Liqui-Grow. Jake, we're standing in this bean field. It's been recently harvested, and overall we're hearing really good yields throughout the territory. I know that there's some places that haven't had the rainfall, maybe aren't seeing quite the same results. But in this area, we have had a few calls of yields being off in the beans. And what could be causing those yields to be off?
So when I talk to farmers, if they tell me, you know, my bean yields have been off or my bean yields just aren't what I want them to be, the first thing we need to eliminate as a possible problem is soybean cyst nematode.
That is your favorite subject, I think.
It's one of my favorite subjects because it's a hidden yield robber. You can lose 10 bushels without even seeing the damage.
Sure.
Okay. So there was a whole 45-minute discussion I had with an Iowa State professor that we can link in this presentation.
Yep, we can do that.
We're gonna make this very brief, but you need to understand what your pressure is. So you need to take soil samples to find out what your soybean cyst nematode pressure is, number one. Number two, you need to start thinking about varietal selection, and that would include
PI
88788 or Peking,
yep.
Basically. Okay, watch the video for more detail on that. Then you want to start thinking about a levo seed treatment. Okay, so levo seed treatment definitely has some efficacy on soybean cyst nematodes.
I'm going to back you up there and say, Jake, is it too late to be sampling for soybean cyst nematodes today, November 1st?
It's not too late, but you need to get it done pretty soon.
Okay, so we've eliminated soybean cyst nematode. What comes to your mind next?
So we have had a lot of calls, several calls about Phomopsis Seed Decay, which is also called pod and stem blight, which is also called diphtheria.
Which should not be confused with diphtheria.
Correct. Okay, so that is a disease that basically overwinters in either old soybean residue or in weed residue, or weeds are a host. So specifically, water hemp and buttonweed.
What are you referring to as a buttonweed?
A buttonweed would be velvet leaf also. Velvet leaf buttonweed, yeah, same thing, again, multiple names here. But weed control is definitely something you want to focus on all the time, but particularly if you've had a history of pod and stem blight.
So what else can you do in your fields to make sure that you're getting rid of this problem?
Tillage can be effective. You want to bury that residue. Okay, that can be an effective answer to get rid of pod and stem blight.
So right. Can you still check your fields that are harvested and see if there is some?
Yeah, it's possible, Katie. We're going to put a bunch of pictures of what pod and stem blight looks like. It's possible, but it's become much more difficult. I would try to find some places in the field where you maybe missed a few beans, because you're really going to want to look at that stem. You want to look for linear black dots up and down that stem. You also can look at the seed. There's some basically crinkled up seeds. Also, they have some white fuzzy mold on the seeds. If you split the stem, you may see mottling or dark, irregular shaped lesions on the inside of the stem. Those are all possible signs and symptoms of pod and stem. We can get it about any time throughout the season, but we often get it early when there's still some soybean residue out there to infect the next crop. Okay.
But visually, it might start to see.
Yeah, basically raindrops splash the disease up on the leaves of a young soybean plant. It basically gets in the leaf system, gets in the leaf, and then ends up in the vascular tissue, the stem. So it's basically a vascular disease that clogs up the stem with, from moving water and photostimulants, sugars throughout the plant.
So we're probably really not going to see anything until we run with the combine.
It really starts showing up sometime after R5, which is pretty far down the road, and after R5 it gets progressively worse. And it's really bad in years where you have lots of precipitation during August, which we had in this area in August, and I talked about this disease potentially being a problem in a conference call, Monday morning conference call.
Okay, so Jake, was it something you'd see across the whole field, or is it in sections of a field?
With a lot of fungal diseases, you tend to see it in patches. And you're probably going to notice black areas in the combine. That would be your first indication to get out and see what might be going on.
Anything else that you'd like to share with the folks on this?
There is a huge varietal component. The problem is with the varietal component, the seed companies don't regularly rate their soybeans for resistance to pod and stem blight. But if you've had a problem, I would definitely ask, your agronomist or your local DSM or our seed and seed treatment manager about varieties that may have some good resistance to pod and stem blight. That's going to be a little bit tricky to find that out, but I would definitely ask the question if you've had problems with it.
Well, thanks for all the information this week, Jake, and I hope the folks at home are having a very good harvest.
Stay in the know with Liqui-Grow.